Howdy, my name is Raymond Arturo Perez, and this might prove to be a terrible idea to do a live in public and to be mobile, but it felt like a good idea in my head, so we're going to try this. Today, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the importance or lack thereof of higher education. I guess my biases are going to be that I have 3 degrees. I have a business degree from the University of Texas at Austin, the McComb School of Business. I have a degree from the Moody College of Communication at the University of Texas at Austin. I have a MFA in screenwriting from the American Film Institute, or the AFI Conservatory. And, I've been outside of academia for a couple years, so I do have, the itch to want to go back and get a PhD. It is something I'm thinking about. I do think that, in general, the great thing about being a human is that you can continuously be learning, and I think academia is a great place with structure to do that. So I'd say those are my biases. But today I'm going to be talking about the pluses and minuses of film school. I went to the Moody College of Communication. I got a degree in radio, television, film. My focus was in writing and directing, but I also took some producing classes. I took animation. I took sound editing. And I feel like what was really great about getting a well-rounded education in film school was that, let's say I never made the move to LA and stayed in Austin or moved back to San Antonio. I felt like the film program at UT Austin at that time really created a curriculum that was holistic and allowed you the opportunity to understand filmmaking literally through all the nuts and bolts of filmmaking. I think some of the drawbacks of going to a school outside of Los Angeles is that you're not super duper connected to the industry. And as I mentioned in my last live, and as I'll probably mention a bajillion times more, networking is crucial to our industry, especially. It is who you know. And for many folks like me, and for many folks from Texas, we don't know anyone in the industry. And that becomes a huge crutch as to, whether or not you'll find success. And so I do think, and I'll go into this in a little bit, but I do think if you have the option to study in Los Angeles or study outside, you should always choose Los Angeles, especially if you're serious about going into the film industry. I went to a state school. UT is part of the UT school system. At the time, there was a 10% rule, which means that if you graduated within the 10% of your high school, I believe that's now the top 7% or top 6%. So I graduated top 7. I got automatic admissions to UT Austin, which was dope, and I think is not at all based on race or ethnicity, which the Supreme Court has covered at least once. Because essentially it's saying no matter your zip code, no matter your area code, no matter your socioeconomic status, the top 10% of your public school will be admitted into a state school. I think that's really great, actually. Anywho, I did want to go into the application process just a little bit more because I felt there were some things that people took as a basis of understanding that I didn't know. I was the first one in my blood family for my mom, dad's family to go to college or a 4-year institution. In that my mom and dad had never applied to a 4-year institution, so we all didn't know what all that entailed. For example, when we were applying, I was like, I don't know per whose recommendation. It might have been one of my school counselors. But I drafted up a list of like the top 10 to 14 programs that I'd want to be admitted into for their film program. And so I listed out, the best film programs, some of the best schools. On there was USC, UCLA. I think I had NYU in there. I think I had Princeton in there, who had a film program around 2010. I might have even had a couple more Ivy Leagues in there. But again, my parents didn't know about anything beyond 12th grade. And as we were getting closer to looking at how much are applications, my parents and I were both like, they're really expensive. Like in 2010 monies, it was like $75 to apply to college or university. And so, multiply that by 12 to 14. And my parents were like, we do not have enough money. Mind you, there's still tuition to take care of, room and board and books and all this other stuff. But we do not have money for you to apply to 12 to 14 programs. And so instead of the 12 to 14 programs, I applied to 4. Which I think is ludicrous now looking back. But of course, I didn't know. I didn't know not to think otherwise. So I ended up applying to USC, UNT, the University of North Texas, St. Mary's University, Southern Methodist University, and UT Austin. As I mentioned, UT Austin was an automatic admissions. I also got admitted into the University of North Texas. I also got admitted into Southern Methodist University. And basically that conversation that I had with my folks is, maybe you apply to 3 safer schools and then you apply to 1 dream school. So for me, my dream school has and always will be USC. And one day, maybe I'll teach there or something. So I applied to those 4 programs. USC paid me dust. It's fine. I'll be okay. And then I got admitted into UT. They gave me some scholarship money. Totally should have given me more. And then SMU gave me a full ride. And then an additional $12,000 to $14,000. And then UNT gave me $20K a year or something like that. Out of those 4 programs, of the 3 that offered me any sort of admissions or funds, I'd say UT still had the best program by far, especially at the time. And one of the things that was instrumental to me moving forward with UT was they also had a semester in Los Angeles program called UTLA. Hello, brother. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll do my 4 years at UT. They also have a really good business program. So I'm going to get a double major in business. And then my last semester, I'm going to go ahead and move to Los Angeles, study my last semester, walk the stage to graduate, and permanently stay in LA. And that's what I ended up doing. For me, as I've mentioned, because of how holistic the program was, it felt right. Because I got the semester in Los Angeles, I also felt like I had a bit of a pipeline to the industry to at least understand some aspects, like what is a mailroom, what's WME and CAA, and what's the importance of having a manager or agent or legal representation. Not just the theoretical of what the studio system is, but how does it actually function within the industry, especially in present day and not in the olden days where there was the studio star system and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, wherever you end up, you end up. I think the thing that I push folks for the most is to take the initiative while you're an undergrad, make the most out of the resources that you have, both within the school, but also each other. Whenever I talk to Longhorns specifically, I always tell them, if you're a writer, you better take every writing course available. And as a writer in LA, the most important thing is your samples. So once you've finished all the writing courses, because there's probably going to be maybe 3 to 5 now that are different from one another, continue to take the advanced screenwriting classes so you can have more samples. Even if it seems redundant because you're taking the same writing course, you can take it with a different professor and you can write a new sample. If you're a director, your most important thing is having completed narrative short films. So take the upper level production courses, repeat until you graduate. And then most importantly, school is expensive, classes are expensive, but you might still have access to that equipment, which is expensive, and the insurance, which is expensive. So take your friends and make as many narrative short films outside of class. Like, take that equipment, take turns writing, take turns directing, take turns producing. Each one of those like helmets is a very unique skill set and is a lot of work. Don't try to do all 3. Divvy up the work, share the work, switch hats each time, because you're going to learn so much by focusing in on one thing. And let's see. Scholarships. Ask for scholarships. There's so many available. I remember the biggest note that I got while I was at UT Austin was that current students don't know that there are additional scholarships for returning students for your second year, your third year, and your fourth year. So as soon as I heard that, I applied to all of them. And I got at least 1 or 2 additional scholarships each year. And then also look beyond your university or your college. There are usually scholarships available at different organizations that, maybe a makeup of your identity, maybe in respect to your career field, or your religious beliefs, etc., etc., etc. Whatever it is that you identify with, there's probably an organization that covers that, and there's probably money from that organization to support you in higher education. So, some of the ones that supported me were like different companies based in San Antonio, different companies based in Austin, Texas. I received funds from the Hispanic Scholarship Foundation for grad school. I also, organizations that you're a part of, both undergrad and just outside in the real world. So one of those organizations for me was Omega Delta Phi fraternity. And Omega Delta Phi, like I'm sure every other fraternity or sorority or equivalent type organization, has national scholarships available. So I applied to the leadership scholarship. I applied to the service scholarship. I applied to, my chapter had its own scholarships from alumni. So I applied to leadership scholarship at the chapter level. I applied to service scholarship at the chapter level as well. And all these things, some of them may be really large, and congratulations. And some of them are really small, but once added all together, it can be a huge ton of support. And then the other thing that I usually mention to folks that are in undergrad is to take as many internships as possible. If you are not taking classes during the summer, if you're not taking classes during the winter, there are internships available in Los Angeles. I'm sure there are some in New York, but I really do think that your time is best spent in LA if you're going to be working in the Hollywood industry. And so the reason why it's important to do that during undergrad is because oftentimes these internships, in lieu of paying you, will require you to take this internship as part of your curriculum and take, what is it, like take credit through your university program. And so though that's been mostly phased out, especially at the bigger studios and corporations, it is still a common thing that I see. So while you're in undergrad, definitely recommend, and like shoot for the stars. Like don't go, It's great to go to a small production company as well, because you'll learn just a different skill set and the different expectations that go with a smaller production company. But if you have a few years still in undergrad, I think it's important to both get like the studio level and then like a small production company level or development studio or whatnot. I think